In the ancient city of Isfahan, where minarets touch the sky and gardens sing songs of water and roses, there lived an old sage named Ustad Karim. He was known throughout the Persian world. His house stood on the outskirts of the city, near the mosque, where the wind carried the scent of saffron and old books. Ustad Karim was neither rich nor poor. He was wise. And in Persia, wisdom was always valued more than gold. Merchants, generals, poets, beggars, and even the provincial governor himself came to him. Each sought his advice, and each left with an answer they did not always want to hear, but always needed. One day, a young merchant named Rustam came to Ustad Karim. He was successful, rich, and respected. His caravans traveled as far as China. His name was known in every bazaar, from Baghdad to Samarkand. But lately, Rustam had begun to notice that his affairs were not going as before. People began to avoid him. The trust of other merchants in him was fading. He was losing connections. He was losing respect. "Ustad," he said, sitting on the carpet before the sage, "I do not understand what is happening. I have not changed my habits. I have not become worse. I am the same Rustam I was 10 years ago. But people are turning away from me. My affairs are getting worse. My friends have grown colder. What should I do?" Ustad Karim was silent for a long time. He looked at the merchant with his old but sharp eyes. Then he rose and poured tea into 2 bowls. He placed one before Rustam and the other before himself. "Tell me, Rustam," he began, "when you were little, did you have toys?" "Yes, Ustad," replied the merchant. "I had a wooden horse that my father carved for me." "And did you love it?" "Very much." "And what happened to that horse?" "I broke it," said Rustam. "It fell off the table, and its legs came off." I cried. "Father told me then, 'Do not cry, son. We will make a new one.' And he made me another." Ustad Karim smiled. "Do you remember how you cried over the old horse?" "Yes." "And why did you cry?" "Because it was mine. I was used to it. I did not want a new one. I wanted the old one." "And what did you understand from that?" Rustam thought. He did not understand where the sage was leading. "I understood," he said, "that I love old things and do not want to change them." Ustad Karim shook his head. "No, Rustam, you did not understand correctly. You understood that you cried not because the horse was old. You cried because you had become attached to it. You became attached to a thing that could not be honest with you, because it was simply wood. You did not want to accept the truth, although only you yourself could be honest with yourself. I will tell you a story. This story is not about a horse. It is a story about lies and truth. Listen carefully. In the city of Shiraz, amid rose gardens and ringing fountains, there lived a jeweler named Nadir. He was the best master craftsman in the province. People brought him gold, and he turned it into art. His rings were worn by the wives of governors. His bracelets adorned the hands of noble ladies. His name was a symbol of quality. But Nadir had a son named Hussein. Hussein grew up in his father's workshop. He saw how his father worked with gold, how he weighed every grain, how he tested every sample. Hussein wanted to become a master like him, and he learned from his father. But one day his father told him, "You must learn not only how to make gold, you must learn to be honest, because a jeweler who lies loses not only money, he loses himself." Hussein did not understand. "What does it mean to be honest, father?" "I never steal. I never deceive." "Being honest is not only not stealing," said his father. "It is telling the truth, even when the truth is bitter. It is not hiding that an item has a flaw. It is telling the buyer that his ring might break in a year. It is being a person whom others trust." Hussein nodded, but did not fully understand. He thought honesty was simply not taking what belonged to others. He did not yet know that honesty was much more. Several years passed. Nadir grew old, and his hands began to tremble. He could no longer work as before. He handed the workshop over to his son. Hussein, he said, now you are the master. Remember my advice. Be honest. Hussein swore he would be. At first, he worked like his father. He made beautiful jewelry. He did not deceive customers. His name began to be heard in the bazaars. People said, Hussein has the best jewelry, and Hussein was content. But one day, a wealthy merchant came to him. Hussein, he said, I want to order earrings for my wife. They must be made of the purest gold. I will pay double if they are the finest. Hussein took the order. He worked for 3 days and 3 nights. He made earrings that were beautiful, but when he weighed the gold, he noticed that it was slightly darker than it should be. It was an alloy he had bought from a new supplier. It lacked purity. No one will notice, he thought. The color is almost the same, and the merchant will not test the purity. He gave the earrings to the merchant. The merchant paid. Hussein put the money in his pocket and thought all was well. But a week later, the merchant returned. Hussein, he said, these earrings have tarnished. My wife has worn them for only a week, and they have lost their luster. What is this? Hussein turned pale. He did not know what to say. It is ordinary oxidation, he said. I will treat them, and they will shine again. He treated the earrings. They looked good again. The merchant left, but there was already a shadow of doubt in his eyes. A month later, another buyer came to Hussein. He also ordered a piece of jewelry, and Hussein used the same alloy again. He thought, no one will notice. Everyone looks at beauty, not at purity. But beauty deceives only for a short time. Gold, with little purity, begins to tarnish. Jewelry made from such gold loses its luster. People began to notice that Hussein's jewelry lasted less than his father's. Merchants stopped ordering from him. Old clients went to other masters. The name Hussein had built for so long began to crumble. One day, as he sat in his empty workshop, his father came to him. Nadir was already very old, but his eyes still saw far. Hussein, he said, I see what happened. You deceived people. You gave them counterfeit goods, and now they have turned away from you. Hussein wept. Father, but I meant well. I wanted to earn more. I did not think it would be noticeable. You did not think, said Nadir, but you should have thought. Honesty is not something visible immediately. It is visible after a year, after 2, after 10. You thought you were smarter than everyone. You thought no one would notice. But truth always comes out. Truth always defeats lies. Hussein hung his head. What should I do now? You must fix what you broke, said his father. You must go to every customer to whom you sold counterfeits and tell them the truth. You must return the money. You must admit your mistake. You must become honest, not in words, but in deeds. Hussein did exactly that. He went to every client. He told them the truth. He returned the money. He remade the jewelry from pure gold. But the most amazing thing was not that. When people saw that he had admitted his mistake and corrected it, they did not turn away from him. On the contrary, they began to trust him even more. Because an honest person who admits his mistake deserves respect. Hussein once again became a respected master, and he never forgot his father's lesson. Ustad Karim finished the story and looked at Rustam. Rustam sat in thought, staring at his tea bowl. Rustam, asked the sage, why do you think people turned away from you? Rustam shook his head. I do not know, Ustad. I have always been honest. I never deceived my clients. I never stole. Perhaps, said Karim, but honesty is not only not stealing, it is being honest with yourself. And are you honest with yourself? Rustam was silent. He did not know what to answer. I will tell you, Rustam, continued the sage, the more honest a person is, the less he justifies himself. The less he looks for someone to blame. The less he hides his weakness. You lost people's respect because you began to justify your mistakes. You began to say, it is not my fault. "It is my assistant's fault." You began to say, "I lost because the market was bad." You began to say, "They deceived me." You stopped being honest with yourself. You began to hide behind words. And people see this. They see when a man is afraid to say, "This is my mistake, I am to blame." They see when a man is afraid to admit his weakness. They see when a man is dishonest with himself. Rustam understood. He hung his head and wept. He wept not from shame, but from relief, because he finally understood what had happened to him. "What should I do, Ustad?" he asked. "Start small," said Karim. "Today, when you return to the bazaar, tell the truth to the first person you meet. Tell him, 'I am afraid that my affairs are bad. I am afraid that I am making mistakes. I want to be honest with you.' And you will see that people will not turn away from you. On the contrary, they will reach out to you." Rustam did exactly that. He returned to the bazaar. He approached his old friend and told him the truth about his fears. And his friend did not leave. He sat down beside him and said, "I am also afraid. I also make mistakes. We all make mistakes." From that day on, Rustam stopped hiding behind excuses. He began to tell the truth to himself, to his friends, to his clients. He stopped looking for someone to blame. He stopped hiding his mistakes. He became honest, and people began to trust him again. Many years passed. Rustam became a respected man, not only in the bazaar, but throughout the city. When asked how he had managed to regain people's respect, he replied, "I understood that the more honest a person is, the less he needs lies. Lies are a defense against the fear of being weak. But when you stop defending yourself, you become strong. You become free." When he grew old, he sat on the threshold of his house and told his grandchildren, "Remember, children, honesty is not only when you do not steal. Honesty is when you tell the truth about yourself, when you are not afraid to admit that you were wrong, when you are not afraid to say, 'I do not know,' when you are not afraid to ask for forgiveness. Because one who is not afraid of the truth no longer needs lies. The more honest a person is, the less he justifies himself. The more honest a person is, the less he lies to himself. The more honest a person is, the less he fears being vulnerable. The more honest a person is, the less he wears a mask. And when you take off the mask, you will see that the world will not turn away from you. The world will see your true face, and it will love it. And from that time in Isfahan, it is said, "He who speaks the truth does not seek excuses. He who is honest with himself does not fear mistakes. He who is not afraid to be weak becomes strong."